For many people, trying to please everyone is a recipe for disaster. So here's how to stop being a people pleaser right now. First of all, search for the specific situation in your life where you act as a people pleaser. Because behind people pleasing often is an unmet need. And you will get to the same trap over and over again until you recognize what is missing in your life and what triggers you to get into a people-pleasing persona. And there is a huge price to pay when your life is driven by people-pleasing. You can find yourself under-earning, having burnouts, working too much. If you are an entrepreneur, just imagine a sales conversations with a client when they ask for a discount. At this point, a people pleaser is filled with guilt and worry. You understand that you can't afford to drop your price, but you feel as if you can't say no too. People pleasing is also called over-responding, and it's easily confused with customer service. In some situations, over-responding is a required action to deal with the client situations or to deal with people around you, but most of the time it's a compulsive response to put the needs of others before your own. And no wonder that it's challenging to stop being a people pleaser, because you get used to paying attention to other people's interests so much that you miss what you need and what you want. It becomes difficult to express that. When you keep adjusting yourself for other people, you undervalue yourself. When you constantly give discounts, you devalue your service. Clients will never value your work if you allow them to pay less than everyone else. This is just one of the many scenarios of people pleasing in business. And there can be many reasons why people pleasing appear in your life. I'll give you a few common situations so you'll see the parallel between a people pleasing behavior and what turns it on for people. So you may get into a people pleasing mode if you want to avoid internal bad feelings. For example, you worry that people will reject you. They won't become your client in business. They will say that your work isn't that good, and so on. You just worry about this, and that hurts when people do this. Or you may have fear of disappointing others, because if you disappoint others, you may feel bad about yourself, or people you disappoint can make you feel bad. Another not good experience, right? Another reason that triggers people-pleasing is you may worry that you'll be criticized. People-pleasers see criticism as an attack on their self-worth, which is not. Or there can be some personal feeling. You may be afraid to become lonely. This is where is that need to fit the society and norms that comes in. You may think that by pleasing others, you would feel included. But the reality is that it doesn't happen that much in life. And here's one more that often happens, but it's much more difficult to catch on. You may get to a people-pleasing mode if you want something in return. And sometimes it can be something obvious, but often you may not even recognize that. That's why it's so difficult to catch on these people-pleasings and get over this. Because, for example, some people are so nice to everyone because they believe that everyone would be nice to them if they're nice to others. There's kind of expected outcome for being nice, but they may not realize it because they aren't aware of their belief system. And in fact, people often give what they want to get. So if you want to catch what your expectations are, think about what you often do for people. That can be giving some help, and that's the moment when you want to get help and support too. Or you may tell people how good they are at work, how beautiful they look, or just praise and acknowledge them for something, while at the same time, you want to be noticed and appreciated. And you may get caught on depending on other people's opinion. And when you have these deep desires, it's so difficult to build life and business in this state, because you'll often compromise yourself for the sake of others. So how can we avoid these issues in business? Once you recognize where you turn into a people pleaser, working with your clients or just dealing with people around you, there are several things that you can do. First, know your process. Stick to the processes that you have in business, and if you don't have them, then you need to come up with them so you will know what to do every time you get to a certain situation. Of course, there are parts to adjust for your clients, but it's not a process if you will change it all the time. Do not simply jump to please because it can bring you even more problems later. You're not doing any good to your clients or to yourself with that. And by following your process, you also train your mind that got used to people pleasing, that there are certain rules and standards in your life that you follow and others should respect that. Later, you will see how stopping being a people pleaser in some situations, you will be able to be bolder and express yourself better in other circumstances that may come up. The second tip on how to stop being a people pleaser right now is to be clear on the expectations. Educate your clients on your way of doing business and explain why you do business that way. When you educate your clients upfront about why you do things and how everything works, they're typically very grateful. Even if they do not agree 100%, they will appreciate your approach. They will be able to see the reasons behind your actions, and you'll develop trust. And what I mean by setting clear expectations is set the expectations on the results that people get. Tell them how many meetings you will have, how many revisions they can get if you, let's say, creating something for them like web design or copywriting. Agree with them on the deadlines and urgent situations. One of the common situations when people get into people-pleasing mode is when they're attached to the outcome more than their clients, when you're not sure if you can exceed your client's expectations or deliver on a promise. And in this case, you become dependent on your client's opinion. When you set the expectations and talk about the details before you sign the contract, before you start working with your client, then you can always refer to that discussion. It's much easier for both you and your client to work together when you have those conditions in place, when you talk through all those details before and everyone knows what to expect from each other. And here's one thing. Sometimes people ask me, how do you set expectations and talk about the results when it's not clear and I can't guarantee the result that they get? For example, if you coach people on mindset, limiting beliefs, some spiritual stuff, and so on, where the result will be kind of individual and often depend on a person. So here's the thing. It does depend on the person. And you also talk about it up front. So you'll take pressure off yourself by saying something like, I'm going to give you all the tools. I'll put 100% of myself into our work. I'll be there for you when you need me. But you're the one who's responsible to do the work, and the results you get will depend on how committed you are to the process. Is that okay with you? So here, you promise to support as you can according to your process for this work, and like whatever tools you have, you'll give them, and you are clear on what they can expect. This makes people think that you're right. They also have a responsibility in order to get the outcome they want. And usually people say that they agree with the condition. So setting clear expectations before you do any work will serve you for many people-pleasing situations later. Still, something can appear along the way. So the third way to stop being a people-pleaser is to discuss the problems when they occur. If you or your client isn't happy with something, or if there is an issue, discuss it immediately. When you close your eyes on the issues or procrastinate on addressing them, you can make problem even bigger. It may be uncomfortable to face it, but think about it. Like imagine a snowball effect. It starts with a small misunderstanding or concern, but it builds upon itself and becomes a more serious problem. People respect honesty, and this will prevent you from many larger complications. And it's also important to set boundaries. And this is the tip number 4 on how to stop being a people pleaser right now. You have to set your boundaries. You have to talk and clarify what people should or shouldn't do. If you have folks in your life who take advantage of your willingness to help, you must learn how to say no and stick with it. You're so much more respected in business when you are bold in your decision. Setting boundaries is like getting healthy habits. Think about how you want your business relationships to be structured and share that with people. You partly said that when you talk about the expectations of working with you, but still, there's something will always come up, whether it's with your clients, your employee, and any people around you. So let's say you don't want to work 24/7. You want to have a weekend off to have time with your family, or you want to have time for your hobbies, or even maybe do some work without interruption. Set a rule that you will not have any client communication over the weekend. That means no calls, no emails, no texting. Over time, your clients will learn that you are only available Monday through Friday. Another example, if a client asks you about an extra service that they're not going to pay for, it's okay to say no. Or even if they want more work to be done and offer to pay for it, but you, let's say, promise your daughter to leave your work on her birthday, set the boundaries for this time. And here's another big reason why people tolerate the prices or some parts of the contract with the clients is they are not sure if they can provide the results that people ask for. And this is especially important if you are a perfectionist, because you will try to polish every part and make sure that you can deliver on the promise. But be open to what you will help people to achieve. And sometimes if you are a coach or consultant, their result doesn't depend on you, but on the effort that they put into the work. So every time you complete your work and get a testimonial from a client, this is before you get to work with a new client, take time to acknowledge yourself for the accomplishment, praise for well done work, and remember that feeling when you'll talk to your next client. Because here's the thing, when you have concerns with yourself, whether you can bring people the results that you can promise, or if what you promised is worth the money you ask for, then there is a weak part for a people pleaser to tune in. When you acknowledge yourself for your results, you install the mindset of a winner that yes, you can do a great job. Yes, people do get the results and they're happy with them. And yes, your service is worth charging that much as you want. And yes, because you're so good at what you do, there's no need to work all the time just to keep yourself busy. So pick the acknowledgement that resonates with you, or come up with your own and build your confidence in your service and your work and in yourself. With the time, with these little acknowledgements, with celebrating wins, with seeing that you do the great job. And by the way, if you learned something new in this video, please like it, share it with your friends, and also make sure that you hit the subscribe button and that little bell on the side so you'll be notified about new videos like this. So here's some food for thoughts on how to stop being a people pleaser right now. I'll quickly review 5 tips that we talked about. This is number 1, know your process. If you need, write it down and stick to it. Number 2, be clear of the expectations. Talk through everything, all the details before you start working with people. Number 3, discuss the problems when they occur. If there's something you don't like or something didn't work for your client, talk about it. Number 4, set boundaries. That's a big one for you. And number 5, build your confidence in the outcome you provide. And again, people pleasers want to make everyone happy. While you might make someone happy temporarily, it doesn't work long term, and you can get hurt in the process. The only thoughts and feelings they can change are their own. You know, it feels nice when someone says good things about you, but don't associate your self-worth with someone's opinion about you. It doesn't serve you. Instead, learn to love yourself. When you feel that void for attention, for appreciation, it's easy to break that pattern of people-pleasing behavior. And if you want some tips on building your self-esteem and developing self-love, then watch this video next.